Today, we're counting down the 10 toughest US states for undocumented immigrants, where strict laws, aggressive enforcement, and limited access to basic services make daily life a constant struggle. Our journey begins in Alabama, a state often called the heart of Dixie, where the landscape is marked by rolling hills, historic towns, and a deep sense of tradition. But beneath the surface, Alabama has also become a battleground in the national debate over immigration. Here, the past and present collide, shaping the lives of thousands who call this place home. Alabama is home to the infamous HB 56 law, one of the harshest anti-immigration measures ever enacted in the United States. When it was passed, the law made national headlines, drawing both fierce criticism and passionate support. It was seen by many as a test case for how far a state could go in enforcing immigration restrictions. Passed in 2011, HB 56 requires police officers to check the immigration status of anyone they stop if they have a reasonable suspicion the person might be undocumented. This means that a simple traffic stop or a minor infraction can quickly escalate into a life-altering event for immigrants, regardless of how long they've lived in the state or how deeply they're rooted in their communities. The law goes even further, making it a crime for anyone to help, transport, or even rent to undocumented immigrants. This has put teachers, pastors, and neighbors in a difficult position, forcing them to choose between following the law and helping those in need. Many people now hesitate to offer a ride, provide shelter, or even share a meal, fearing legal consequences. The impact has been profound. HB 56 has fueled fear and mistrust, discouraging people from seeking medical care, reporting crimes, or even enrolling their children in school. Classrooms that once bustled with children now sit half-empty, as parents worry that sending their kids to school could expose their families to authorities. The law's reach extends into every aspect of daily life, creating a climate of anxiety and uncertainty. While some of the most controversial parts of the law have been struck down by the courts, its core provisions remain in effect, continuing to cast a long shadow over Alabama's immigrant communities. The fear and suspicion it created have not disappeared, and many families still live with the constant threat of separation or deportation. In response, protests and legal battles erupted across the state. Civil rights groups, faith leaders, and community members joined forces to challenge the law, marching in the streets and fighting in the courts. Their efforts have brought some relief, but the struggle continues, and the scars left by HB 56 are still felt today. For many immigrants, the message from Alabama's lawmakers was painfully clear: you're not welcome here. Families have been torn apart, with parents detained or deported while children are left behind, unsure of what the future holds. The emotional toll is immense, as loved ones are separated and communities are fractured. Today, entire neighborhoods live in fear, their lives shaped by a law that continues to define the boundaries of belonging in Alabama. The legacy of HB 56 is a stark reminder of how policy can shape not just laws, but the very fabric of a community. Next, we head to Arizona, a state that has become synonymous with the nation's most aggressive immigration crackdowns. Arizona's vast deserts and bustling cities have long been a crossroads for people seeking new opportunities. But in recent years, it's also become a flashpoint in the national debate over immigration policy. Here, the tension between law enforcement and immigrant communities is palpable. Arizona is ground zero for tough immigration laws, where the struggle over who belongs and who doesn't plays out on city streets, in courtrooms, and at the state capitol. Protests erupt regularly, with passionate voices on both sides demanding to be heard. The most controversial of these laws is SB 1070, often called the Show Me Your Papers law. This legislation gives police the authority to demand proof of legal status from anyone they suspect of being undocumented during routine stops. Supporters argue it's necessary to uphold the law, but critics say it opens the door to discrimination and abuse. For many Latino families, the law has created an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. Critics warn that SB 1070 encourages racial profiling, making people feel targeted simply because of how they look or the language they speak. Community groups have organized protests and legal challenges, determined to protect their rights and dignity. The impact of these policies is visible across Arizona. Businesses have suffered as workers and customers leave the state, legal battles have drained public resources, and families have been separated, sometimes for years, by deportations and detentions. The emotional toll is immense, with children growing up without parents and communities living in constant anxiety. Arizona remains a national symbol of harsh immigration enforcement, a place where the consequences of policy decisions are felt in everyday life. The state's approach continues to spark debate across the country, shaping the future of immigration law in America. Georgia, often celebrated for its southern charm and legendary hospitality, has in recent years taken a much tougher stance on immigration. While the state's nickname, the Peach State, conjures images of warmth and welcome, the reality for many newcomers is far more complicated. As you cross the state line, the promise of opportunity is shadowed by a series of policies that have made Georgia one of the most challenging places for immigrants, especially those without documentation, to build a life. At the heart of Georgia's approach is its strict enforcement of E-Verify, a federal system that requires employers to check the immigration status of new hires. This law, among the toughest in the nation, means that undocumented immigrants face enormous barriers to finding legal work. But the impact doesn't stop there. Even legal residents and citizens have sometimes found themselves entangled in bureaucratic red tape, with paperwork errors or system glitches leading to lost job opportunities and mounting frustration. For many families, the dream of economic stability is slipping further out of reach. The obstacles extend beyond the workplace. Georgia is one of just a handful of states that bars undocumented students from attending its top public universities. Even those who graduate from Georgia high schools are denied in-state tuition, making college financially impossible for most. For ambitious young people who have grown up in Georgia, these policies send a clear message. No matter how hard you work, the doors to higher education may remain closed. These tough laws have sparked heated debate across the state. Critics argue that Georgia's policies foster fear, drive families into the shadows, and deepen divisions within communities. They point to stories of children separated from parents, students forced to abandon their dreams, and neighborhoods gripped by anxiety. Supporters, on the other hand, insist that these measures are necessary to protect jobs for citizens and uphold the rule of law. The result is a state deeply divided over what it means to be welcoming and who deserves a chance at the American dream. For many immigrant families, the message from Georgia's lawmakers is unmistakable. Life here is becoming more uncertain and more difficult. The sense of belonging that once drew people to the state is being replaced by a climate of suspicion and fear. Parents worry about their children's futures, workers fear losing their livelihoods, and entire communities feel the weight of policies designed to keep them out. As the barriers to opportunity continue to rise, Georgia's reputation as a land of promise is being tested. For those caught in the crosshairs of these laws, the path forward is filled with uncertainty, and the dream of a better life seems further away than ever. In Mississippi, strict enforcement and no sanctuary cities make life especially tough for undocumented immigrants. Local police partner with ICE, so even minor infractions can lead to deportation. The fear of being separated from family is constant. With no safe havens, undocumented immigrants have nowhere to turn. Businesses struggle to find workers, and communities lose valuable members. Mississippi's stance leaves many feeling unwelcome and undervalued. South Carolina's Show Me Your Papers law requires police to check immigration status during stops. Civil rights groups argue it encourages racial profiling and erodes trust in law enforcement. Many immigrants now avoid reporting crimes or seeking help, fearing deportation. Legal challenges continue, but the law's core remains. For undocumented immigrants, daily life is a choice between fear and risk. Texas has banned sanctuary cities and requires local police to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. Senate Bill 4 has sparked fierce debate, with critics warning it promotes profiling and discourages crime reporting. Texas has also ramped up border security and targeted human smuggling. The result? More detentions, more families separated, and a climate of fear. For many, Texas feels increasingly unwelcoming. Florida has tightened immigration enforcement, requiring police to honor ICE detainers and banning sanctuary cities. These laws have sparked legal challenges and left many immigrants feeling exposed. Even minor infractions can lead to extended detention and possible deportation. Cities and counties are pushing back, but the state's stance is clear. For undocumented immigrants, Florida's warmth is fading behind a wall of enforcement. Indiana penalizes employers who hire undocumented workers and requires E-Verify for new hires. The state also prohibits landlords from renting to undocumented immigrants, making housing scarce. These laws create a climate of fear and insecurity, pushing people further into the shadows. Accessing services or asserting rights becomes risky. Indiana's welcome is fading as restrictions tighten. Oklahoma enforces strict E-Verify laws and denies state benefits to undocumented immigrants. Finding work is difficult, and there's no safety net for food or healthcare. Families face tough choices and often rely on informal support. The barriers to integration are high, and opportunity feels out of reach. For many, Oklahoma's promise remains elusive. Nebraska denies driver's licenses and state benefits to undocumented immigrants. Without the ability to drive, daily life and work become major challenges. The lack of a safety net affects families and communities alike. Nebraska's policies keep opportunity just out of reach for many. Across these states, tough laws have real human costs. Families separated, dreams deferred, and communities living in fear. This isn't just about policy, it's about people striving for a better life and contributing to our nation. Let's keep the conversation going. Like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below as we work toward a more just and compassionate society.